Happy to wake up this morning and say, I am. All right, right on. So once again, thank y'all for joining us for the first ever Fix a Lead right here at the Nike store at Lenox Mall, courtesy also of our Eagan Atlanta team. My name is Maurice Garland. I'm one of the co-captains for Atlanta Run Club. Some of y'all know me only from that, but I'm also a Atlanta-based writer and journalist who currently writes for the AJC, ESPN, and a couple other outlets. And with this interview series, I wanted to bring together two worlds that mean a lot to me, which is, interviewing people and running, what I'm saying, as well as, fitness and all those things. I think, there's a lot of parallels among those things. All of them require a lot of discipline. They require a lot of commitment. So I wanted to bring these worlds together. And I'm assuming that some of y'all have something to care about in one of those worlds, which is why you're showing up to hear two people talking about running. You know what I'm saying? That sounds very exciting, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yeah. All right, so when I thought of this idea, I told him I was gonna say this in front of everybody. Ryan Wilson was the first name and face that I thought of when I was like, man, what if I could interview somebody in Atlanta who's a successful business person about finding that balance between having a healthy lifestyle and running a business. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that fit that profile, but he was the first one to say, yeah, I'll do it. I did not know what he was gonna say when I asked him to do it. I thought it was gonna be like, hey man, my speaking fee is $2,500 an hour. I was like, hey bro, I got some gift cards for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? But once again, I want to introduce Ryan Wilson, the CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot. Y'all give it up for him, y'all. For those of y'all that are not familiar with The Gathering Spot, The Gathering Spot is a private club for, different entrepreneurs, creatives, but, it's based in community. You know what I'm saying? They do everything in there. Sometimes it feels like they don't want you to leave, actually. You know what I'm saying? You go in there and do some work. You can go in there and eat at the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Are y'all gonna have a gym in there pretty soon?
I get asked that question all the time. Maybe one day.
I'm not
gonna rule it out.
But they currently have 4 locations spanning across 3 different cities. They also have a location in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., and their most recent location here is The Retreat, which is in Midtown, which actually has a pool, you know what I'm saying? It's about to go down over the summer, you know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all join and get y'all membership on so y'all can be up there showing off your summer bodies that you're working on right now in the wintertime. Amen? Amen, amen. So I want to get right into this conversation, man. Like I said, I was inspired by you one time when I saw you after the Thanksgiving half race. I saw that you finished it a couple years ago. You looked like you was hurting. I ain't want to say nothing to you.
I was hurt.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, but I was inspired to see it because like, oh wow, man, because I did not know that you were a runner. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I saw you crossing that finish line, I'm like, oh man, shout out to Ryan, bro. So I wanted to know, man, like what inspired you to even start adding running to your lifestyle?
First and foremost, I appreciate y'all coming. I know you could be anywhere in the world, and thank you. Let's have a conversation. Appreciate you too. Look, running, I have an interesting relationship with running. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I never expected to be a person that was going to be running often. Started this business in 2016, so we're knocking at 10 years. It was March 1st.
Y'all give it up for 10 years, y'all. 10 years.
But the thing that I was doing immediately before we started the business is that I was in law school, right? I wanted to be an attorney. And I was in the best shape of my life in law school. I was lifting, I was running, I was very active. There wasn't anything to do except to read, and then I worked out, right?
And he went to Georgetown. So obviously he did not go to a school like, Clark Atlanta where there's a party everywhere. He went to Georgetown, so it sounds like ain't nothing to do but work.
Campus was boring. So there wasn't nothing else to do except to run. So fast forward, start the business, and I mentioned I come in, I'm in really good shape. And then that ended quickly, right? That being in really good shape went away very fast. I mean, like, you can see this visually. If you go back, just go on the Gather Spot Instagram, go on my Instagram, scroll down, you will see me graduating, and I'm like, I was okay. And then life just started to move past me way too quickly, where I became really unhealthy, really, really fast. And so running has been a way to reclaim that, right? And I'm working in a place, we have a full service restaurant. And so for the first couple of years of the business, it was extremely stressful. Didn't pay myself anything for the first 2 years. I mean, we had raised money at that point. 97 people said no before the first person said yes, right? So like, I was eating my feelings on a regular basis, and when we finally did open, I would go to the kitchen all the time and be like, look, I don't have time for anything that's gonna take long, so like French fries. And you do that every single day, all day, right? It took a toll on me. So I've been on a journey back for the last, I mean, certainly since COVID, to just make sure that yes, the business is important, but as cliche as it sounds, like if I'm not healthy, the business can't be either.
So why is it that, from your experience, and if you can speak to others' experiences that you've heard from, like, why is it that so many entrepreneurs, founders, folks of that ilk, they start to neglect their health as they're building their business? Because, there's multiple studies out here, but there was a study that was published in 2022, I believe, that said that like 72% of people who found a company report that they not only have, mental health struggles as far as like the anxiety, the depression, which usually leads to the hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, like they go hand in hand. So why is it, do you think, that so many folks, as business starting positions, start to neglect their health?
I mean, I think it's easy to accept the idea that like there is no room for anything else. That's at least the idea that I accepted. I was like, look, if I'm a real entrepreneurs do this 24/7. I mean, 10 years ago, this is peak hustle culture. This is like, if you're really about it, like this is all that you do. You don't have time to be focused on anything else. I saw recently though that there was this matrix. They were like, it's only possible to be good at, and they kind of broke life into 4 quadrants, right? So it was like your health, your business, your family, and then I think the 4th category was like extracurricular, like any other interest. The point here is that it's hard for us to master all of the different quadrants of our life at the same time. And I was over-indexing on, there was only one quadrant of my life. It was work that needed to be successful, and frankly, everything else at that point in my life could take a back burner. And I knew that I wasn't healthy, right? And I should have said this earlier, but ended up going to the doctor's office, got an annual physical, and got some numbers back that I was not happy with, right? I'm here, we started the business when I was 24, so let's say I'm 26 years old and I'm in the doctor's office and they're talking about I have high cholesterol. And that to me was just, that wasn't going to be able to be acceptable over the long run. I had to figure out a way to make the business a priority, but at the same time make my health one too.
Shout out to going to the doctor. Just give it up for going to the doctor. That's something that a lot of people are scared to do. We act like the doctor's pep boys. Like, we ain't never gonna get no good news. I ain't gonna go. You know what I'm saying? But so you said the numbers were one thing. Like, what were some other things that kind of made you like turn that corner? Like, some people it's getting bad news from the doctor. Other folks is like, damn, these pants too tight now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what were some other things that was like, happening around that time that really made you be like, man, I need to make a change. I need to turn this corner.
Look, I had one moment that I remember like it was yesterday. My daughter was a big Minnie Mouse fan. Different conversation. I don't know how she became a Minnie Mouse fan. Truly, like we never sat down one day. I was like, "This is Minnie Mouse," but I don't know. That was her Beyonce. So we had to go to Disney World. We took her to meet Minnie Mouse. And while I was in the park, my back went out. Like I had to sit down. My wife came over and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Nah, not really. I can't. I guess I'm walking too much. Like I don't know what's going on right now, but my back has gone out from walking and trying to carry my daughter around, and that was the final like. I mean, I can't be out here with a toddler not able to do regular life." And at the same time that this is happening, like the business is gaining traction, right? So like we're welcoming all these people, and I mean there was real action that was happening at the club all the time, but it just didn't sit right with me that again that thing was taken off. But like here I am on a park bench at Disney World, unable to be with my child because I had let my health get to a place that was unsustainable.
Yeah, like my back didn't go out, but I can relate to like chasing a toddler around. I'm having that experience right now. It's like, I think my back muscles are strong as hell now from this experience. You know what I'm saying? I used to not be able to do a pull-up, but like now I'm in the gym like,
Oh, no, yeah, no. Having kids and just carrying kids. No, that's some of the best training. Shout out to, I think we have a kid. Yeah, shout out to the parents that know what that early child struggle is a different physically, right? And that's on top of all the other elites, the mentally, spiritually, right? Like just physically being able to do it every single day is tough.
So, you know, when you're getting this news and you're making this change, like what are some of the first things that you did change? What are some of the first things you did? Because, you know, when some people get this kind of news, they do the extreme. They're like, man, I'm joining 3 gyms. I'm going to Planet Fitness, LA Fitness, 24-hour fitness, all of them. You know, then some folks are like, I'm just going to drink Artist Garden all day. I'm just going to get healthy and do that. You know, then some people, they take the moderate route. You know what I'm saying? They might hire a personal trainer or they might start walking around the neighborhood more often. Like, what were some of the things that you did when you decided, hey, man, I need to tighten up?
Look, I say this all the time in the startup context, and I believe it, right? Like, don't listen to me. If you ever start talking to me about your business, I'll be like, don't listen to me, right? Like, you spend all day, every day thinking about your business. I just spent the last 10 seconds thinking about it, right? So I'm happy to try to be helpful, but like, you're the subject matter expert on your business. I would say the same thing here, right? Like, don't listen to what I'm about to say. I'm by no means an expert, but I'm also at the same time not an incrementalist, right? Just by nature. Like if I'm gonna do something, I do it, right? Like I don't have a slow. Which again, if that's your approach, this is a friendly zone. Like do it that way. But I'm a person that like likes to have more black and white rules on what I should or should not do, right? So I learned pretty quickly the foods that were not helpful to my cholesterol, and I stopped eating them. And not never ever, but like pretty consistently. Just I had to. If I could get into a different flow, then it would become natural and normal for me was my thought. And so now, like what felt like a sacrifice years ago, really doesn't feel like one now. So. I mean, I'm hesitating in giving you the particulars. I don't think that the particulars matter, right? Like each of us has to kind of adjust in the way that makes sense. But I cut a lot of things out and prioritized being active even when I didn't feel like it, and got to a place that if running has taught me anything is that you have to like the time that you have to make just to do it makes you have to reprioritize your day in ways that I think are important, right? Because before it'd be like, I don't have time to run. I got to get on that conference call. And when I get off that conference call, I got to get on another meeting. I've had to take a step back and be like, that call will be okay. Or, hey, can we start 30 minutes later? Like I need to, this thing is also as important as whatever we're about to talk about. Given the fact that I can't give you the details of any of those conversations, none of them, Joyce, were that important, right? But that day of me pouring into myself, I would argue that day was important, right? And it's put me on a trajectory to be able to have another day like that. So, I mean, now that it's a lot easier, thank God. I mean, I'm sure many folks can relate to this, but you're just getting started. Like those first several were like, somebody said, Those joints will humble you. I did join a gym, and I know a lot of folks in this community know Josh, but I joined fourth quarter performance, and I've been going there. I'm there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30 in the morning, and that became a part of my routine too. Come out. I'll be there tomorrow, 5:30 in the morning.
So has this conversation inspired anybody else to get on their next Zoom call at work and be like, bro, I'm going to be about 45 minutes late. Got to run these 5 miles. Hope you understand.
They'll be okay. I mean, they probably gonna be looking at you like you're crazy, but like, none of this stuff. The thing that's freeing about making it to 10 years is I'm like, man, all this stuff that I thought was just like life or death. It ain't like you'll look the next month and be like, what was I? That Tuesday was really stressful, but I don't even remember why, right? So, I mean, don't let folks take you out of a pattern or practice that you legitimately need to do to go and serve some other thing that, again, I would argue most of the time it's not about to change much.
Right on, right on. So before we get into the next part of the conversation, I want to inform y'all that you don't have to wait until the end to ask any questions. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to have the regular thing where it's like we talk for an hour and you get 5 minutes of Q&A at the end trying to rush to answer questions. So, if you feel inspired to, ask a question, just raise your hand right quick. Matter of fact, the floor is actually open right now. Does anybody have a question or a comment? If you got a testimony, just share the testy part. You know what I'm saying? Don't share the whole moaning part. We ain't got that much time. But if you got a question,
I'm still that. I do this all the time. Like,
so do we have any questions right now before we move on?
And I'll say, yo, I see this as a conversation. I'm willing to talk about whatever. Most of the things that I discuss are actually not about wellness or fitness at all. I'm mostly talking about starting a business and scaling a business and all of the things that have gone into that part of my life. I mean, it's been an interesting journey to me, right? I mean, started this idea in my apartment in DC. First round was like $3 million. We've raised like $30 million at this point. And there's been a bunch of different seasons over the years. I mean, this business is called The Gathering Spot. I remember watching the news in 2020 and the anchor was like, don't gather. My wife was 28 weeks pregnant. So we're about to have our first child. I'm like, what? Like, how did... And so we learned so much in that season to get through it, right? So like all of these things intersect for me, right? Because my ability to able to navigate that season was tied to the fact that I was mentally and physically in a place where I could I could navigate, right? And I don't take that for granted at all. It could have gone the other way.
So I got a question. So earlier you mentioned you received 97 million freaks a year. So like, what was your process with handling rejection? What was your process for that?
We could be here on that. I'm gonna try to be quick. To better explain it, right? There were two things that were happening at the same time when we started. So I needed to find a building. The first gathering spot's like 25,000 square feet. So I needed to find a building in order for the business to exist. And at the same time, I needed to find investors. And each group wanted the other thing to be in place before they were willing to jump in. The real estate wanted to know where the money was going to be at, and the money wanted to know where you were going to have real estate, right? So starting from that place, trying to make both of those trains come in at the same time was incredibly difficult. And there were days where you felt like you were not telling the truth, right? Because if you're an investor, I'm like, yeah, we're down the path. But then I'm talking to the real estate folks like, we close. We're almost at a term sheet. So that's the backdrop. As we kept talking to folks, I have to take accountability for like half of those conversations where I just wasn't prepared. I did not have the fundamentals of the business down. It was all vibes, all passion, and like very little substance in terms of being able to walk you through very simply. I mean, like a lot of people forget when they're pitching, this is not charity. Like this is not a grant that folks are trying to give you. They want to know they're going to give you X and you're going to return Y. And you need to figure out how to explain how you're going to return it in like 3 to 5 years. So I wasn't good for like half of those conversations at just that. When I got better at it, still hell in those came. I mean, just poured in. It's hard for me to look at any hotel around here and not remember a day that I was in that hotel with someone talking to me crazy, right? Like, at least that's how it felt at the time. How we got to 97 is that we would go to a person after they had said no and ask them to refer us to someone else that most of the time also said no, right? But we built the network through no, not through yes. It was like, no, I hate that. All right, bet. You have anybody else that might hate it? In fact, I do. And they would put us with other people. We just kept going. But I'll end here. If you have an idea that you are trying to figure out how to fund, get to a place where you have to almost be delusional about it, right? But like, I fundamentally believe that the work that I'm doing is my assignment. So respectfully, like, I don't care if you don't like it. I mean, you have the right to have that opinion, right? But like, I have the right to continue to show up and try to make this thing a reality. And just because you said no, again, You just thought about this for the last 20 minutes. I have dedicated everything I have to this joint. So staying in that space, knowing that anything that's disruptive has often been accompanied by a lot of people being like, oh, that makes no sense. I just kept talking to myself that in that way all the time. And I'm a Jay-Z fan. There was a tweet at the time. Someone asked him, what's the best piece of entrepreneurial advice that you have? And he said, don't listen to anyone. Everyone's afraid. And I kept that with me everywhere I went. I'm like, these folks don't know what I'm building. They just are scared. They're trying to put that insecurity on me. It's my job to figure out how to continue to keep rolling. And I don't want that to sound like a bumper sticker, but like so much of entrepreneurship in the early days to me is just about your mindset.
Right on, right on. So do we have any entrepreneurs with us tonight? All right, cool. Do we have any runners as well in the building? So I want to try to draw a parallel here. Like any runner that has trained for a distance race, they're familiar with that concept of hitting the wall. You know what I'm saying? I want to know, like, what is the, I guess, equivalent of that in the entrepreneur space? Like hitting that wall and being like, damn, bro, I thought I was strong enough and damn, you know what I'm saying? Or do I push through this? Do I fall back? Like, what is the equivalent in the business world of hitting that wall like a runner does?
Monday, Tuesday, like every day you hit some sort of wall, right? There's a constant challenge when you're trying to build a business. I remember, first round was $3 million. This was not like one of those TechCrunch articles. Like we raised that money and spent that money immediately. Like some of the money I don't even think had time to settle in the account. Like it was true story. I went to the bank. You learn things when you're hustling like this. Like I remember we got an investor to come in. It was for $400,000, right? We were really excited about that check. And we had a construction draw that was almost the same amount, right, that we needed to pay. And so I went to the bank, deposited the check. Sometimes banks play around and want to hold the check and process. I remember going up to the bank and being like, you have to release that check. Like, you have to release it. And they were like, oh, it'll process. And I was like, nah, like, if you don't release that check, then there's another check that I've already written that we're both gonna have a problem here in a minute. So but to your question, the question is like, what wall? I mean, like hitting them all the time. I told you I didn't pay myself anything for 2 years, right? That whole first 2 years was a wall, trying to figure out how to make payroll, how to fund any bit of what we were trying to make happen. And then fast forward, like there have been those same sort of challenges all the time. It's important for me to talk about it in this way because in the absence of talking about it like that, there are a lot of people on the internet that are going to talk to you like, oh, well, now everybody just got it going on, and I started a business, and then everything has just been up and to the right for forever. And it's like, that's not the realities of what the game is about. If you talk to anybody who's really in business, most of them will tell you that they've been through a moment, like many, many moments, where they've looked and been like, I had an investor ask me one time, he was like, what's your burn rate? And I remember looking at him and being like, what? And he was like, I mean, do you know what a burn rate is? And I'm like, I do know what a burn rate is. You're asking me how much money do I have until I run out of cash? Well, today's Monday, and if I don't make money by Friday, we're going to be out of business. And he was like, really? And I'm like, yeah, no, this is this week, today. Like, we need to, whatever we're here to talk about, we need to go ahead and talk about it because I need to go make money right now, right, to make it to the end of this week. So I guess that's a wall. The best way I can describe this, if you're in the game, it is like sprinting towards a wall, knowing that you could go splat, like it could get bad, and just having the faith that you're never actually going to actually make contact. But if you're in it expecting that like the wall, I see the wall, it's right there. I've been staring at some form of a wall the entire decade that we've been doing this. And I don't have any shame in that, right? That to me is a reality of being in business.
So it sounds like, this experience of, being an entrepreneur, period, is something that comes with a lot of like sleepless nights. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's a common thing we hear from people that start businesses like, oh man, sleep is for suckers, wearing them t-shirts and wristbands, sleep is for suckers. It's like, damn, bro, I guess I'm gonna be a sucker, dog. Everybody be out here sleepwalking, you know what I'm saying? But I want to know, for like, you know, in your experience, was that something that you put yourself through, like the concept of like the sleepless night, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, now are you like, no, I'm getting my 7 to 8 if I can.
Yeah, I'm not proud of this, but yeah, no, I was absolutely a person that was like, I'm more hardcore than you. I'm willing to go to places, and look, some bit of this I still have is like, I'm still willing to go to places that I don't think you're willing to go to be successful. Like, that's my attitude as an entrepreneur. Like, I don't think that you really want to, like, don't lace them up against me. Not in this arena. Like, I'm not the right person for that. Like, this is what I do, and if I'm going to lose, like, I'm gonna have to look up and be like, wow, the time is out, and you won. Until that moment, like, I'm going to continue to press. Now, at the same time, the way that I balance that is that, like, I mean, I've got to get some sleep for the game, right? This is what I've evolved into, right? Like, back then, and some of this is like, I was in my early 20s. It was like, what, sleep? And truly, we would be up. I talking about this with someone earlier today. We hosted this event with Drake midway, I don't know, probably year 4. And this joint went to like 6 in the morning. Crazy tired, right? Went home, took a shower, put a suit on, because at the time, the Attorney General, Eric Holder, was coming the next morning for a talk about the census. And like, you couldn't have talked to me about being sleepy at that event. It was like, this is the greatest time to be alive ever. Like, I'm in the game. So there are moments where you have to press, but like, that's not every single day. And I would argue like that ties to running, right? Like, there are moments where you need to kind of put your foot down and do what you need to do. There are other moments where you're like, this isn't that mile, right? Like, I've got a second to collect myself, figure out how I'm going to approach the rest of the race, and I'll kick when it's time to kick. Figuring out how to do that in entrepreneurship, I think, is hard, but it's possible.
So, like I said, I was proud of that moment where I saw you crossing the finish line at the Thanksgiving half. I want to know, like, what was the first race that you signed up for, and what was that journey like of training for? Or did you train for it? Because a lot of folks, they sign up for their first race. They're just like, I saw a link on Instagram, I'm going to do it. And they get out there like, oh, my knee, my leg. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what was your experience like for your first race?
My first race was the Peachtree, I believe. And honestly, it was an accident. I had been running, and I had a friend that was like, yo, you should run the Peachtree with me. And I was like, cool. And like, I'm from here, but if I'm being honest, I didn't know how long the Peachtree was. It was just like, the 4th of July, people run the Peachtree. So I was like, well, okay, let's run the Peachtree. And then I figured out, I was like, oh, hold on, wait, that's not the little 5K. I was a 3-mile warrior. And I'm not talking about 3.2, or like, I'm talking about like 3. And as soon as it said 3 in my headphones, I don't care where I was. Like, it was like, I'm like immediate breaks, right? Like, my wife was one of those people, like, she'll like, finish the run and get back home or whatever. I'm like, I ain't getting back nowhere. Like, as soon as I used to love to hear the little voice would be like, 3 miles. So I figured out the Peachtree was longer than that. I'm like, yo, okay, hold on. That's double what kid runs all the time. Like, I'm not. So I started to prepare for that race. Made my base run like trained into it. And it was cool. Like, I was fine for that race. The track club has great marketing, so I finished the Peachtree, and they're like, have you considered the 10 mile? I'm like, we here. I mean, I guess, like, why not? And so I ended up doing the Triple Peach several years back, and that was like my first running season. There were some other races that I did in there, but like those were the races that I was like benchmarking myself to, like, finish the Peachtree. And what's crazy about this whole thing is that, like, it was right here. I remember at the start of the Peachtree, I wish I had a picture of my face, because I know I looked scared, because it was like, no, 6 of them things. Like, I don't have 6. I have 3. Well, at that point, 4. I'm sounding like a space player, but it was like 4, 5, and a possible, right? Like, it was like, the 6th one, but like, my bet to myself was like, okay, if I get to 5, I'm not gonna like not finish the race at 5. That would be crazy. Like, that's just like a mile left. And that's kind of how it played out. But that first season, I was scared every single one of them. I'm scared of the 10. Never will forget, because I probably could do a better job researching these races. And like, I don't study the elevation the way that y'all real runners like study the elevation, know when to press and all that. I'm trying to finish. And so I remember turning back up through Midtown on the 10 miler. You have to get back up to Atlantic Station. How many people have done that race? Yeah. So like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you go all the way through, and then you gotta hike it back up Midtown to get back to Atlantic Station. I remember looking up at the Atlantic Station hill and being like, nah, that's not, like, this is not. So that doesn't feel possible right now. Like, and I got to go all the way through. I got to go all the way back through Midtown and then up. Because I remember going down it when you started, and that felt great. But like the up, I was like, I don't know. I don't remember what your question is anymore. Sorry.
Man, having flashbacks like he was in a war.
You know, but like, that's how I approach running sometimes. Like, it's not convenient. It isn't pretty, right? Like sometimes it's just it's representative of life. It's ugly. It's mental warfare, and it is you talking to you every second till you get finished. And for me, it's whatever time I'm not. This morning I ran 5, and like 5, like not 5.1, not 5.5. But it's training for the rest of my day in a way that I appreciate.
So, it sounds like you set boundaries with your runs, but, some folks, they may not have a great relationship with boundaries. So I want to ask, when are you becoming aware of burnout? Because I know this is something that a lot of us suffer from, whether we're starting a business or we're just working somewhere. Even sometimes when you're on a running training journey, you're like, oh man, I'm kind of tired, but I still got these 16 miles a day. So it's like, how have you been able to recognize signs of burnout, and how do you handle that?
Look, I think it's like any other practice, right? Like, it actually has to be a true thing. We a lot of times, this is where the entrepreneur in me will definitely come out. I believe that you have to go flirt to figure out where that line actually is for you, and listen to your body. This isn't a go and put yourself in some dangerous situation. But as we all have seen, when you press, you'll look back on runs that you used to do that felt impossible and be like, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I was running way worse than this. So I'm probably not the best person to answer this question, because I need to go see, right? If running for me is a part of a test of myself to figure out where the line kind of is. And look, there have been days where I've woken up and I'm like, okay, this don't feel good and this don't either, and that's probably not the day to go after it. But I don't feel like it. I mean, we all don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing a whole bunch of stuff. But okay, right? So I try to put running in the same category. I give you 20 things today that I didn't feel like it, but they had to happen. Those 5 miles had to happen, right? And you haven't asked me this, I'm going to tell you. I admire the runners that are probably here, where you finish and feel exhilarated, and people after the race are like, it was just the best day of my life. I just, I feel all the energy. It's just amazing. That ain't me. I'm not thrilled after I get finished. I'm not with respect. I aspire to be like you. If you're one of those people that just, I just so much energy after my runs. I guess I know what you're talking about. Or I hit a high in mile 7. It just, I just can't. I'm I ain't hit nothing but pain in mile 7. And it does get better. I have recognized, wow, Like, I'm doing a lot better. This feels a lot better than it used to, but I'm not one of those runners that just is like, just love it. Just love every moment of this. This is just there's aspects of it that I like, but like, as cliche as it sounds, we said and run in circles all the time, I like to finish. That is the most satisfying moment. Like when when little voice in the headphone says I'm done, I'm like, that to me is the reward, not, how great mile 4 was. It wasn't great today.
One thing I've learned on my running journey is like, when I'm training, there was definitely a lot of times where it's like, I don't feel like it. But, after a while, you have to learn that, the discipline is what gets you there. The discipline takes over when the inspiration ain't. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I've learned. Another thing I wanted to share too is like, as far as like just all the aches and pains of things, like I always tell folks, like, pay attention to your body when it's whispering so you ain't got to listen when it starts screaming. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when you're in trouble. It's like, oh, shit, I can't move, bro. Like, see, man, it was whispering to you 2 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? So do we have any questions or comments from the crowd? We're going to go with my man behind you and then you.
The time block doesn't change for me now, but the activity does, right? And that's a new position for me over the last couple of years. I go back, especially in my law school days, 3-mile warrior. That's it. It wasn't, and I'm not exaggerating. It was like 3 miles and not another step, right? And I had not the best results because there was no change in approach at all. It was the same approach every single day. I have to give a lot of credit to my wife. Like, she's been the person that has really made sure that there's variety. But although the time for me can't change, I mean, my days are crazy. Like, from the moment my kids wake up until they go to sleep, like, I mean, it's full contact sport for us in our house. So like, I have to get it in early, or it's much harder for me to make anything happen during the day. That's just the way that my life is set up currently. But I do my Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They change because of what we're doing, but my runs also now vary on the other days. I'm doing different distances. So today was 5. I think I've got a 4 and a longer joint at some point this week. Look, I think the first thing that is really important to do, especially as a business owner, right? You got to take a step back and ask yourself, why did you get started in the first place? And then hold on to that reason really, really tight. Like, the game is designed to make you forget about why you got started in the first place. And so part of the way that I cope is that, like, I go back to things that I wrote, things that I said, things that I told other people about, things that I was saying and writing, and like, again, try to get into the space of, this is not something that I'm doing on accident. In many ways, it's the thing, like, this challenge is the thing that I asked for, right? Like I prayed to have this exact problem. And like, this problem is trash, but like, overall what I'm doing, that's not trash. And again, it is not an accident that I'm doing this in the first place, right? So keeping that perspective is the first way that I'm able to cope with all of it, because it's like, you would have gone back to me as I'm graduating law school and been like, yo, you're going to have the opportunity to have multiple locations, a pretty large team, right? Like, by many measures, this business has been successful. And now to get that, you're going to have to, like, here's some other stuff that comes with it. At that stage in the beginning, while everybody was saying no, I was like, yo, I'll take all of it, right? If you're telling me that I could get the rest of it. Okay, well, that's what's happening right now, right? Like, I am fortunate to have a shot. And I didn't know if I was going to have a shot when this started. And again, I'm not trying to tell you that what's happening doesn't suck, because like, it's trash. Like, we all of us right now are dealing with something it's trash. It's not fun. It's taking our energy. It feels very inconvenient. It can even feel worse than that. It can feel like it's really taking away from us. But you have a shot to have a shot. And at one point, it probably felt impossible that you could even have this problem. Thank God I have this problem. Is what I try to look. I'm not perfect with what I'm saying right now, Because you catch me on the wrong day, and I'm like, nah, bro, it's still trash. Like that's cool talk, but like, this is awful. But I come out of it with the idea that this again isn't random. What is this? I graduated from law school, and I'm an introvert that started a social club. You can't tell me that this is random. And most businesses don't make it to their 5th birthday. Like, many more don't make it to their 10th birthday. I'm here talking to you on the heels of my 10th birthday. What? Like, no, so yeah, this challenge sucks, but like, wow, this is still a very blessed journey.
Since you admitted you're an introvert, I want to know, like, do you run with other people, or do you usually run by yourself?
All right, I'm gonna lean on this community for this. I've been running by myself, and it's not like, it's actually not to be antisocial. Part of it is this timing thing I just mentioned. But it is a 2026 goal of mine to be better about not doing that. Now, I'm fortunate that I'm motivated enough, like self-motivated enough that like, if I have a mark that I'm trying to hit, I don't need other people. But other people don't hurt either, right? Like there's something healthy about being around some other folks, like, and seeing how they're applying themselves to the problem, and not the times. I think sometimes in the running game, it's like, what was your time on the left? It's like, right, hold on, like relax, chill out. Like, it's not. I mean, like, this is truly like, run your own race, dog. Like I didn't come out here today to be competing with you in that way. Now, all right, that's on one hand. On the other hand, I've never admitted this before, but as I've been in some of these races, like, I will pick a person. I remember there was one Peachtree. There was a dude, and I just thought his shoes were stupid. Like, I thought his shoes made me mad. He was like running backwards and taking pictures. He was clearly like very well prepared for the race. I'm huffing and puffing, and homie's like spinning and like, you know, like saying what's up to people. I saw him at one point like go to the bathroom and then catch me again. Like that made me mad. I'm like, so the back half of that race, I was just staring at dude in his stupid shoes, and like was like, yo, he's just not going to get out of my sight because this is ridiculous. Like he's not even taking this seriously. I've been running for all these months, huffing and puffing, trying to make it through, and like he's chilling. That's my no. He was like, that's my op today. Like we are just going to have to like he chased the hell out of that man. And when we finished, I actually went up to him and was just like, yo, like appreciate that. And he was looking at me like, I don't know what you're talking about, dog, but like, you know, congratulations. But I needed him. So yeah, I like when I can, I like to run with folks because that natural energy, you know, sometimes I don't have it on a mile, they do, or vice versa, right? And we're able to kind of keep momentum going. But I am an introvert, like true, like people be saying that, I'm true to the introverted crew. Like
hardcore.
Yeah, like, you know, I don't allow that to be more important than the things that I think are important, right, to talk about. But it don't make it where it's not the truth. Like I can be by myself, no problem.
Right on. So before we wrap up, I had another question before we throw it back out to the crowd. So you've experienced what it's like to raise capital. You've experienced what it's like to train for a race. I want to know, if you had to flip the coin, like which one is more difficult? Is it difficult out here raising capital or putting your body through the strenuous, you know what I'm saying, training to try to reach your goal?
That's interesting. I've never thought about this before. I would argue running in many ways, right? Because like when your body starts to go and you got to keep your mind in check, like we know what that feeling's like. Where you're like, oh, like out of breath, and I'm hurting, my legs, like, but like, hold on, I gotta stay present in the like balancing that is a different type of hard to me than sitting at a computer sending emails. Like it's not just like because the physical nature of it isn't a part of the thing. Now I would say mentally raising capital is tough just because the way that people talk to you throughout that process, I have found is really, really hard, right? And I said a second ago, but I believe like in many ways the game is designed to take your spirit out of it. And I think that's somewhat analogous to running. Like in some ways, depending on how long you're running and how hard, like it's designed to kind of test how bad you actually want to get to the other side of this. Raising capital has that same dynamic where it's like, and just being in business has that same dynamic. Where you're like, how bad do you want to do this? Because there are challenges every single day. And I keep talking about the sad part of this. For anybody that is thinking about starting a business, please like go start it, right? Because similar to running, you'll look up and be like, "You're a runner, dog." Like it doesn't always. People who run, they don't always. I don't know what running. What at this stage it's like. It don't look like anything, right? But when you start, at least I thought there were like people that look like they run and people that don't. And then you would do these races and be like, "That was you." Like we started together, but like we ain't in together because you got busy. And why I'm mentioning that is that that same sort of thing exists in business where I'm not special. I'm a guy that wakes up every single day running after trying to make my business a reality. And most of the people that I have engaged, there's like 2 entrepreneurs ever where I was, oh no, you different. Like you on a different. Everybody else, I respect aspects of what they do, but like most of these folks are pretty regular. and so I encourage you, if you were thinking about jumping out there, to go ahead and jump. You'll be surprised when you get out there. It's like I thought they had it all going together. Or you'll see even big companies, right? Like walk into mega brands and be like, they absolutely have it figured out. And then you go start to talk to people that are close to it, and they're like, no, we have no idea what we're doing. Like we're trying to figure it out every day. Like where are the answers? And so I mean, we're not having that much of a different experience, any of us, running or in the rest of life.
Right on. I'm glad that you said that because that's how we ended on that note, man. Like, if you're a walker, runner, sprinter, jogger, saying, like, run your race, run your pace, saying, don't get caught up in what the next person's doing, man, because it's going to be your experience uniquely, man. So y'all give it up for Ryan Wilson, CEO, co-founder of the Gathering Spot.